We've not prepared absolutely anything,
nothing.
so we thought we'd just feel and let whatever come flow. This morning, I believe it's your morning now, and you're probably celebrating the International Day of Yoga. This morning, we talked about,
Exactly.
yeah, we talked about the yamas of Patanjali as a preface to the celebration. And as we were going through the yamas, it suddenly struck us that the 5 areas that Patanjali is asking each of us to gain certain control over are pretty much the 5 major things plaguing the world right now. You've got violence, you've got lying and cheating and manipulating, you've got greed, you've got stealing and taking that which is not yours, and you've got sensuality. And it just struck us as like, wow, isn't this just exactly what's going on right now? And it couldn't be more perfect for each of us to really tune into these realities and see the consciousness with which the world right now is expressing them, and what we as yogis need to be doing to not only get our own practice solid and walk the path towards self-realization, but really counteract a lot of what's going on in the world.
One of the things that we are realizing ever more, even in India, where spirituality is at its highest, where actually this is from where true
the source,
the soul and the soil of true spirituality, how wonderful Master's teachings are. Even Indians who have heard about these concepts, who have grown up with these principles, ideals, and rituals and yamas and niyamas, only most of them, until they hear them from Yogananda's perspective, the interpretation that Yogananda brought, and through Swami Kriyananda, is like eye-opening for them. Sometimes we think they don't really understand even the concepts of non-lying or non-attachment, or of course cleanliness and certain things, even though they are so spiritual. But what Master brought, and now in India for us and many others representing this ray, you can see that people are transformed when just by hearing concepts like this. So we are having a wonderful time to share with our brothers and sisters in India the teachings. It's just fantastic.
We've been in Mumbai now for close to 2 years. We have a center which looks slightly smaller than yours, but it's a very vibrant center here. Of course, it's been closed for the last 3 months. We've not been there yet since this lockdown began. But Mumbai is a very interesting city in many ways. It almost feels like a combination of New York, because it's the financial capital of India, and then of course it has the Los Angeles energy because it's also the entertainment capital of India.
Bollywood.
So you've got these 2 really high power, also really highly materialistic flows that this city kind of encapsulates and holds that energy. Similar to New York in certain ways, it's also an island. It's almost an island. It's just on the western coast, and it's surrounded by water on 3 sides. And so it's really small, and so it's very dense. You've got around 20-25 million people living on this tiny little space. And what we see in Mumbai, which you don't see that much in India, is just this incredible energy. It's a very Dwapara city. And so when you bring the teachings of Yogananda, of the Guru, into this city, it just feels absolutely appropriate, because everybody here is looking for a practical way to better their lives. And I think that's the thread from which we're picking up most of what we're doing now. Because admittedly, Kriya Yoga, self-realization, it's going to be for a limited few. It takes a great deal of everything
Yeah.
to even want to walk this path. And even those of us who have that, we stumble and we fall and we claw our way somehow closer to the Guru. So you look at a city where, I don't know, such a tiny percentage of the population would even have that aspiration. But then you look around and you see this is a city where people are used to succeeding. And having succeeded, they are realizing that they're not happy. And so so you're picking it up from that thread, and you start to help them really see success from a different angle, success as a human being, success as being successful also in enjoying life. And that's been really a real fun part of what we've been able to do here with Ananda through our teachings.
Somehow, from all the centers we have been in the last few years, Pune, Delhi, Gurgaon, and now Mumbai, it feels this city matches our energies. I mean, we just feel, we know it's crazy and it's hard to live here. There is constant noise all the time. There is a lot of, pollution, cars, overpopulated city. There is no winter here. It's always hot all the time. I mean, we did our 8 hours Christmas meditation going to the center with like the flip-flops, the t-shirts, the shorts, it's hard even for you to just jump into the, Christ and the snow that you see at the village and in other countries and places. So it for us, we had to adjust in many ways and make sure that we didn't come to Mumbai imposing a specific way of sharing the teaching, but to adjust the teachings in a way that everyone could relate to them and feel inspired to implement them in their daily lives. So we try to be as much creative as we can, so people feel that this is not just for a few chosen ones or for those who have renounced everything or who have a very selective lifestyle. Most of the devotees we have are householders with kids. They are in the middle of busy life. So for us, we feel our role is to bring hope to them and let them know, guys, don't worry. Wherever God has placed you is where you need to be, but we'll make something work for you so you feel that you are also part of this movement. So we are being very impressed and grateful for how all these people with children, with jobs, with parents-in-law that they need to take care of and responsibilities, they are just joining all the life programs we are doing. They are meditating daily. They send us sometimes videos of doing the energization exercises whenever they have little breaks at work. So we feel very satisfied and very honored that each one of us, you in Dallas too, each one of us are contributing a little bit to make people's lives meaningful and purposeful, no matter at what stage of their evolution are. So it's nice for us to see what we can introduce outside the Ananda setting. Ananda setting, I mean, outside the community. Shurjo and I don't have any support.
We don't have peers. We don't. Sometimes we long to just have a conversation with somebody who gets us, who we don't have to explain ourselves to. But you're in a place, and it's like we're on an island just surrounded by water, and we have to make it up as we go along. But it's it's this absolute opportunity that each of us are given at moments of our lives where the only refuge there is at the feet of the Guru. And then it's just like, I don't know what I'm doing here, but here comes this inspiration, here comes this idea, here comes this new way of doing it. And in an interesting place, as I said, we're in the heart of Bollywood, of the entertainment industry here in India, and it's been interesting how we've been, little by little, we've been attracting a lot of people from the industry, really well-known actors, actresses, and just all of them wanting. There are people who've essentially been everywhere, done everything. Oh yeah, I've done the Shivananda yoga, I've done Ashtanga yoga, I've done this, I've been to Satguru, and I've gone here, and I've done it all, but it's just, I don't know what to do with any of it at the end of the day. And to realize what we share with people is not a teaching, it's not even Kriya Yoga, except for the fact that fortunately we have a tool for our own salvation. It's really that divine friendship. And that's what people are thirsting for, especially in these large cities. Many of them don't have what it takes to really stay strong. But what they need more than anything else is have a friend, have somebody who loves them, who trusts them, who's going to support them no matter what. And what Swamiji gave us through that example of just loving us and supporting us, it's really a blessing to be able to now offer that in return. And so our work in Mumbai, we really feel that's what we're here to do. We're just try our best to be a friend for everyone, irrespective of whether they're looking for something, not looking for something, spiritually minded, not spiritually minded, and just begin to cultivate these friendships. And what's happened for us in Mumbai, because we didn't know anybody here. 2 years ago, we had a Sangha of devotees who had never experienced a center or a Sangha in terms of a community. They were used to having the monks come in from Pune, which is a 3-4 hour drive. They'd come in on a Saturday, they do classes, on a Sunday they do classes, and they'd go back. So in the perspective of our members here, Ananda was a classroom setting. Ananda meant, okay, I come here, I learn certain principles, certain theory, certain techniques, and that's it. And so it took us a long time to help those Kriyabans, disciples, devotees of ours, really to start realizing, because they started associating the spiritual path with becoming a teacher, with this idea that, oh, maybe when I get in front of people and I speak, that's when I am spiritual, that's when I have arrived, that's when, I've perhaps become the disciple I was meant to be. That's the goal. Because that's all they saw over and over again. A teacher comes, he shares, he leaves. A teacher comes, he shares, he leaves. And that's been an interesting aspect of us to really shift and change, and to really bring in that family, the energy of saying, you know what, none of us know what we're doing. You think the teachers up there seem to, they may look all high and mighty, but we're just doing exactly what we are doing every day. Some of us are maybe doing it slightly better, but there's not that much difference. And it's really helped people relax. There's no tension anymore. There's no expectation to how to be, how to look, how to sit, how to speak, what kind of a blissful smile ought to be on my face. And it's been nice to pick it up from that thread, that we're friends in God, and we're going to do this together no matter what.
I think one of the most wonderful things that Swamiji has given us, to all of you, is the understanding of how really become an example, or how to share the teachings by you yourself becoming an example. And this is something we have tried to implement since we came to Mumbai. We were the first ones doing the altar, cleaning the altar, brooming whenever it was needed, doing the vacuum. People at the beginning were shocked that we were on the floor cleaning and moving chairs and moving carpets. So for them even to embrace that image of the teachers, the acharyas, cleaning. It was like almost offending them, like, no, the teacher doesn't do that. But I think bit by bit, they have learned, as Shurjo was saying, they have been able to relax themselves and therefore to absorb more. Because what Ananda has to offer really is a vibration. And we want for people to experience that through simply friendship. So what we have tried to do in every class, even the class setting that we do is always more interactive. We always invite people to come and share, so people relax and absorb much more.
So it's just been a joy, because when you come from that perspective and you come from just, I mean, Narayani and I are fairly young, so we've attracted a young crowd in their 30s, some in their 40s. So that's now becoming the average age of people, and they're just young professionals, all of them working mostly for multinational companies. Since Mumbai is a financial capital, we have a majority of people in banks or in our Wall Street, with the stock exchange, and these people are they're very sharp. Yet at the same time, their hearts are just really open, and they're looking for that relationship with the Guru, and they know. A lot of people tell us, like, well, of course I had a mentor when I was coming up in the banks. Of course you're going to need that help. I mean, it makes perfect sense. And then because they're sharp, because their relationship to the Kriya and the mechanics is all, they love the mechanics. Okay, and how many seconds, and is this the right sound? And it's just they want to know the key of the pitch of the sound. And of course, then you just say, none of this really matters. And it's just an intuitive perception, as Narayani was saying, for them, especially those who feel that relationship to Swami. It's just, you just see them shift. When they come, they're really intellectual. They're really like, here fortunately people are better with time than in most parts of India. And they're just there. They're on time. They know what they're here for. And it's easy for us to share here. It really feels that way. However, the city is quite restless, and it seeps into your pores. And we've been in our house in this apartment that we have for 3 months now, and it's just, we're aching for some nature. There's a part of our heart that's just shrinking. Yet the work that we've been able to do in these 3 months through the online, which we were not very attuned to before, we enjoy much more working with people. This online thing has been somewhat of a struggle for us, but once we really started, it's opened up an entire group of people that we'd never reach. We're reaching practically thousands every week just through the online programs that we've been doing, and it's been a real joy. So it's balanced the whole being home and stuck within these 4 walls, but we're feeling the need now to stretch our spines a little.
In fact, this lockdown has given us a bigger perspective of what our next steps could be. So one thing that we have realized is that we need to continue with these online programs and offer these classes for a broader audience, for everyone. So to make sure that these teachings are accessible for absolutely every single soul. The problem is that if we only focus on that, we won't be able to focus on the real, the disciples, the devotees, to give more quality time and quality in terms of going deeper in the teachings with our own, spiritual family that we have here in Mumbai. So what we have felt is that we actually feel more inspired to be and to attract disciples, because those are the ones who are going to really build the work. Those things, those classes we are offering online are mostly for seekers. We don't know if they are true seekers or not, but let's say seekers, people who are more curious, you know, they have more intellectual doubts, or they want to explore different, you know, classes and teachers and paths. And it's important for us to be out there.
Visible.
So, visible. So, you know, we are another option in case all these other options don't work for them. So we have to be there. That's a must. This is something we have realized in the last 3 months. But then we also thought, but what really inspires us is to work with disciples, and that's what we really need in Mumbai if the work needs to expand and to become solid and stable. So now this just happened like very recently. We want to shift also, like you are right now in a period of shifting. We want to let go of the city, the center as a teaching center, and look for an ashram type of a bungalow with, you know, a duplex who has several rooms, large living room. I hear some laughter. Is that because you guys are doing the same?
I mean, it's happening. It's in the ether. It's sown there, because we were as excuse me, I didn't even know my mic was live, but when we were starting to explore the possibilities of you know, our lease ending and whether we should go, we sent out a survey to our, you know, more core members and whatnot. And we were actually very surprised to find that there was a great deal of interest in that. And even before that, there were just these synchronistic things. And, you know, everything you've said so far has been, it's like this sort of roadmap. You're talking to us, you know, it feels like soul to soul here. You're just the perfect folks for us at this time where we're at. But yes, we share a similar sense that maybe that's what is being asked, or, you know, we're exploring it, right? So it's just beautiful. That's so amazing.
Yeah, so we realize that that's what really will build the work and the true disciples, because you cannot share a lifestyle only by talking about it. This is something that cannot be taught with words. You need to see it. You need to live with people who meditate, who practice the teachings, who pray before every meal, who try to help one another, who they do seva, you know, all these things. So people need to see this in order to want to join. If they don't have a model, if they don't have an example, it's going to be very difficult for Shurjo and I to build a strong foundation. So right now we are looking for bungalows.
Bungalow in the Indian context, or more a British context, is a large villa, a big house that, you know, a 5-6 bedroom house where we could have, where of course we'd stay, make it a little bit of a retreat space, have a little garden. In India, of course, we don't have spaces the way you do, but we're trying our best to find something that could allow for more people, as Narayani said, to begin to experience spirituality beyond a teaching, to experience it as a lifestyle, as a vibration, really, because at any center there's just this classroom energy that seeps in no matter what. And especially here in India, where you've got, you know, spiritual paths galore, and all of them have their courses and their diplomas and their certificates, and so people tend to have that kind of an idea that, okay, you know, how long is this going to take, and by the end of it, you know, what can I do with this? Will I have a piece of paper with my name on it? And so we're really wanting to shift the energy, thinking about our own spiritual journeys with Ananda. We came in, Narayani of course starting her journey a little bit with Ananda Sisi, and then soon in India with Swamiji, and my journey started in Pune, where we had a 30-acre property, and we were at least intending to start a spiritual community there. But from that very moment, we never had classroom settings. We were not sat down and say, okay, now this is your med 1 and now you're going to take med 2. And all our understanding of the spiritual path came just from rubbing shoulders with devotees who've been doing it longer than we have, through the osmosis of vibration, through seeing, through the example. And of course, we were fortunate also to have the magnetism of Swamiji around. But we need to create now again more than ever. We need to create these little places, because I think that idea, that concept of teaching, it's really getting saturated, and spirituality is becoming all about courses. And it's like, we can't go there. We can't just be another course in, a course for life where you want to access the Akashic records? Sure, there's a course for that. You want to open all your chakras? There's a course for that. It's just like, it doesn't work that way. You want to know all your past lives?
Sign here.
Just sign here. So it's really, you're just like, okay, let's shift this energy. Let's get back to the simplicity of brotherhood, of loving, of coming together and just being with one another, and let the teachings flow from that perspective of inspiration.